Let's say that a business sells muffins, which are a perishable item, meaning some of them will spoil and cannot be sold. This must be considered when determining the selling price for perishable items. As an example of calculating the selling price for perishables, let's say that a store sells muffins. The cost is $1.06 per muffin. The store bakes 120 muffins and needs a 50% markup on selling price, and 10% of the muffins will remain unsold. What is the selling price per muffin? We're going to start by drawing a table with percentages and total dollar amounts for cost, markup, and selling price, and we'll fill in what we know. We know the markup on selling price is 50%, and since it's based on selling price, the selling price percent will be 100%. And we can also calculate the percent cost on selling price, which is 100% the selling price percent minus 50%, the markup percent, which gives us 50% as the percent cost on selling price. And we can put that in the table. On the right side of the table are the total dollar amounts for all 120 muffins, and we'll fill this in as we go. There are going to be 4 steps to solving a problem like this. Step 1 is to calculate the total cost of the muffins, so all 120 muffins. The total cost will equal the 120 muffins times $1.06 per muffin. So the total cost equals $127.20, and we can put that value in the table. Step 2 is to find the total selling price of the muffins before factoring in the 10% of the muffins that will not be sold. And I'll explain this more in depth in a minute. Since we now know the total cost amount and the percent cost on selling price, to find the total selling price, we can use the formula for the percent cost based on selling price, which is the percent cost on selling price equals the total cost amount divided by the total selling price amount. Plugging into the formula, we have 50% equals $127.20, the total cost amount divided by S, the total selling price. We first change 50% to a decimal and then do the calculations, which I've done on the screen. And we get a total selling price of $254.40. And we can put this in the table, and step 2 is now complete. However, this $254.40 total selling price is for all 120 of the muffins being sold. But we know that 10% of the muffins will remain unsold. So we need to account for this in the selling price, which leads to step 3. Find the total number of muffins that will be sold. Since 10% will not be sold, the percent of muffins that will be sold is 100% minus 10%, which equals 90%. And next we want to find the amount of 90% of the 120 muffins made. This is 90% times 120, or 0.9 times 120, which equals 108. So of the 120 muffins baked, 108 of them will sell, and 12 of them will remain unsold. Next is step 4, to find the selling price per muffin after the 10% not being sold. We know that the total selling price we need to get for the muffins from the table is $254.40. Since we're only going to sell 108 of the muffins, we divide $254.40, the total selling price, by 108, which calculates to $2.36 rounded off per muffin. So to answer the question, we need to have a $2.36 selling price per muffin. And one note, what we're doing here is accounting for the loss of the 12 muffins. Alright my friends, hopefully you got something out of this video. I do have more videos right there for you. Till next time, I am out of here.